this is a serious threat. And so we are right now, that's the whole point of the Golden Dome, is not only to, try to get a handle on incoming ballistic missiles and protect our country.
The Mercedes-Benz Interview Lounge.
We are so excited for many reasons. One of them, the number one reason we're excited today, it's the return appearance. His second appearance with us. It's so great to have him in the room. Once again, Admiral Daryl Caudle is here for Fleet Week.
Yay!
We welcome you, Admiral Caudle. Thank you for coming in to see us today.
Elvis, it's a pleasure, sir. Thank you for inviting me back. Fleet Week, New York.
Yeah.
I know. There are so many Fleet Weeks going on in our country. Are they all happening this week? Is this the week?
No, it's not this week. They're all throughout the year. This is we stage them, different times.
Do you get to go to all of them?
I get to go to a lot of them.
Wow.
Get to or have to?
But I only pick the ones that are the good ones.
Yeah.
Okay. I can't wait. Maybe a little later in this conversation, we'll hear which ones are the bad ones. Now, if I'm correct, I don't know if I'm correct. Was San Diego the first site for the first Fleet Week celebration in our country?
I'm getting a nod that says you're correct, sir. Yes.
Wow. Okay. Okay. I'm rarely correct. Rarely correct. Well, Admiral Daryl Caudle here, of course, now everyone who's here with you today, these incredible people who've traveled all the way to our studios at this hour, which this is not an unusual hour for you to be up, I'm sure. Would you call them your command? What is their official? Because we were saying that they're your posse. It's like they're your peeps.
Well, I think that's a better term. I wouldn't. Now that you've said posse, I may start using that. But yeah, they are my people. They're my front office support staff. 4-star admirals. We take we require a lot of care and nurturing, and it exceeds the capacity of my darling wife Donna. So
we love Donna. Donna's back to New York for her second appearance since. With our show, and I'm sure. Do you do a lot of events with your wife at your side?
Yes, I do actually. Not as many as I'd like to,
wow.
but she is a great Navy spouse, and we do a lot of things together. And when you join the Navy and you're married, I don't know the spouse always recognizes that there's going to be a significant load on he or she as you go through this incredible career as the Navy puts on them.
Well, let's talk about that, Admiral. We have so many listeners who are serving our country by sheer evidence because they're married to someone who's serving our country. They're traveling around to different cities, not only in America, but around the world to serve with them. What's it like being a military spouse? What is part of that job that we probably need to know that we don't know?
Well, I think the biggest part is, there's an old saying, those who wait serve too. And that's a thing you'll hear in speeches that I give. We deploy, we're gone. Somebody's, taking the kids to school, maintaining the home, keeping the cars maintained, mowing the grass, all that stuff that you got to do while, the military member is defending our nation abroad. So that is a significant undertaking, especially when you got young kids. Don and I have 5 grandchildren, 2 service members. I have a Marine son-in-law, aviation maintenance officer, and a fire control Aegis combat system petty officer on board a ship down in Mayport with 2 grandchildren. He's currently underway. So our daughter there is, got a 3-month-old and a 6-year-old that's doing all that by herself. So it's demanding on spouses.
Wait, so does Donna know how to change the fire alarm? Because I had to do that yesterday in my house because my husband's gone for like 2 days. So that was a lot for me yesterday. Does she know how to do things like that?
What she does with that is she just removes the battery so it stops beeping.
Really? It seems to be like the universal solution. I don't know. Is it just me?
Just make it stop.
Make it stop. Make it go away. Who needs a battery and a fire detector, smoke detector? If you just turn it off, it won't bother you. So I'm going to set the stage for what happened yesterday here in New York City. It happens every year for Fleet Week. If you got up early enough yesterday, you got a great spot on the Hudson River. This is, without doubt, the most patriotic spectacle of the year here in New York City. The flotilla included, 2 U.S. Navy ships, 2 U.S. Coast Guard cutters, 5 Naval Academy Yard Patrol boats. Then we had visiting ships this year from Canada and Germany. all the way from way down Battery Park up to the George Washington Bridge. You got to see and have a front row seat from 7:45 till 11 o'clock. It was just an amazing spectacle, as it is every year. What's it like for you? I'm sure you get front row seats for this.
I do. I get a front row seat there at Intrepid. It was wonderful. I got to speak to the group of the Secretary of the Navy, John Phelan, was with me, and we spent all day with him yesterday at various events. You know, to see our large deck amphibious ships come in and more there at Pier 86 with we call it manning the rails, with all the sailors and Marines in their dress uniforms. It's just incredible. I mean, New York is like no other Fleet Week. I mentioned it when we started, just the way we get embraced and the turnout there for us, for them all appreciating what these warriors, these sailors and Marines do every day. It's so reassuring for what they do, and we're so appreciative of it.
Very nice. I know Gandhi is bulging with questions. She was asking.
Right.
She says, "I've got to ask the Admiral so many things," and she had a list. Where do you want to start?
Where do I start? Okay, well, I would like to say I love you guys all because my boyfriend is a Navy vet also. And no, you're not veterans, but he is one. So he's super excited about Fleet Week. He's coming to town for this because he wants to see all the ships and watch what goes on. But I have a question about what you guys are and are not allowed to do when you're in your military uniforms. And I know we kind of asked you this before, but if people want to buy you shots, they want to buy you drinks, they want to give you kisses, how does that work?
Yes, and yes. That's how it works. I mean, the formula is so incredibly simple.
Okay.
Yeah, it's as long as it's not, I'll say inappropriate, and that's a word that's, you can drive a truck through. You can do all those things, and I recommend you do. It's the way you really, I think, tell the sailors and Marines that are out there, get to know them, talk with them, and do the things you said, and that's when they feel appreciated for what they do for service.
Wait a second. Donna, are you cool with people kissing him?
On the cheek, man.
Okay, on the cheek.
Only on the cheek. Consent is important. We'll go with that. And then you've worked with submarines, right?
Yes.
So last year, maybe a little bit before last year, there was the submersible that went down, the recreational submersible. What are your thoughts on these things?
It's unfortunate loss of life on something like that. It's a terrible way to die. You're going to be in a vessel. You're going down. There's not much you can do about it. We've lost 2 nuclear-powered submarines like that in our history, very early in our career, and we've learned from that the reasons that those things happen. But it's a horrible thing. That's why the rigor and standards and the technical expertise and the systems and the redundancy, all those things have to marry up to make sure we have incredibly safe operations. And that's why we train constantly to make sure things like that don't happen to our ships.
Do you guys ever, when you see stuff like that happening, step in and say, "Hey, that is a terrible idea. Do not do this"? Or
We do work with all organizations, including the ones that are not under the military, to learn those lessons so we can apply them. Yeah, absolutely.
If you're just turning us on, this is Admiral Daryl Caudle. He is here, of course, for Fleet Week. And, of course, we also have a very, very important something going on this weekend. It is Memorial Day weekend. And we, even though a lot of us have parents who have served in the different phases of military, but they lived to see the end of it and to live full lives. So many people did not do that. Of course, Memorial Day, the true meaning for you, what is that?
Oh my gosh, it's such an overwhelming question. It is remembering them, their legacy. We never want them to be forgotten. They paved the way for the freedoms we have today. And those sacrifices, the ultimate sacrifices, are something we need to reflect on that day. I will speak at the Intrepid on Monday, on Memorial Day, and my comments will highlight the fact that these are the people that basically allow us to be the America that we are. And there'll be Gold Star families in the audience, and it's a chance for me to look at them in the eye and tell them we do remember their sacrifice. These are families that, have an empty chair in their kitchen, again, a broken heart, and they need to have the reassurance that the country's not forgotten that. So it's a day to do that and reflect on that, Elvis.
Thank you for answering to that. I appreciate it very much. So let's talk about the Intrepid. Now, we've been on the Intrepid several times. We've done our show there several times as well. I find it probably the most fascinating, and I'm going to call it museum, in New York City. There's nothing like it I've ever seen anywhere else in the world. The Intrepid is such an incredible collection of, well, gosh, a million different things. But of course, when you get to see these planes, you get to see the exhibits, the way they tell the stories behind all of this gear and all of these people who have served on these massive ships around the world. It is truly a remarkable sight to see. What are your thoughts on the Intrepid Museum here in New York City?
I'm actually glad you highlighted that. I think I agree with you. It is an extraordinary experience. We were there yesterday and walking through the hangar deck. I'm going to say there were probably 300 or 400 kids there crawling on the exhibits like they're supposed to, laying in the racks that where sailors sleep, pretending like they're on the bridge, looking through all the different components there and systems, and it's very tactile. And that's how they learn about what we do in the Navy. And I think the Intrepid leadership team has done a fantastic job maintaining that ship, keeping it the museum and the experience that allows people to come on board and see that history. And it scales from things that, Navy of old, essentially at the start of when we had aircraft carriers like the Intrepid and one of the older ones, all the way to things we have today, which are very new. And so it is a very special place. We'll be there tonight for a gala event. There we're recognizing the Secretary of the Navy. And they'll strip that place down, that hangar deck, and it'll be, over 1,000 people there that have come to do that celebration in that hangar deck. So it's a full spectrum of ship that's capable of a lot of different things.
Do you know what I actually did on the Intrepid? They had a zombie run on the Intrepid. This is how diverse this ship is. They actually had a zombie run. They set it up like The Walking Dead, and we came and there were zombies in all of the different, stuff, and they chased us.
Well, hopefully at the end of the cocktail hour tonight, it won't be the zombie of The Walking Dead.
Hopefully it will.
You never know.
Or maybe tomorrow morning if they go too late. Fascinating. Talking about, let's say, the Intrepid. Let's talk about in the submarine that you have served on versus a commercial cruise ship. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people who visiting New York have been on one of our ships at Norwegian Cruise Line, and they go on that. This is nothing like that. They didn't live like we do. On these, have you ever been on a cruise? Would you ever want? Would you ever want to be on a cruise?
I get this question a lot, and Donna can attest that I've always thought, like, why would I want to go do that?
Exactly.
And then I'll be honest. Last year we went to Fleet Week Miami, one of the good ones, and so I'm down there, first ever, in fact, the first time we'd held it there, and a Norwegian Cruise Line hosted us. And they allowed us to use their slips there for our ships. We had 3 ships moored in places at Norwegian Cruise Line. The president of Norwegian Cruise Line hosted my team, my peeps here and others. And I got on board that thing. I could have not been more wrong. I would live on that thing if I could. Those things are extraordinary. I mean, I had no idea. Just to give you a sense and scale of that, the one we were on can hold 7,500 passengers. And below decks, the folks you don't see running the engine room and meal service is another 2,500. So that ship gets underway, it can be with 10,000 people. And we pat ourselves on the back when an aircraft carrier has 5,000. So that's cruise line serious business, Elvis, and they are incredible. But like you started out, it's nothing like a submarine, nothing.
Yeah, I can't imagine being out in a Navy ship and having, let's see, a Broadway show or a casino. There's no casino.
No. It may be some friendly gambling on the mess decks. It's certainly not a casino.
Yeah, when you go to a Norwegian Cruise Line ship, they don't call dinner mess. They really don't.
No.
How fascinating. Being I'm going to say the word soldier. Is that appropriate? Is it appropriate to say you're a soldier? Officially, you are what if you are called a soldier?
Well, yeah, we typically say a soldier is somebody that's a ground force, and we're sailors,
right.
And Marine and airmen and guardsmen, and we all have terms. But colloquially, I think it's fine to call us all soldiers. We're committed to the armed forces.
So, with anyone and everyone stuck in traffic, driving to work, listening to you, Admiral Caudle, we're all civilians, as you would, I guess, call us. How could we live our lives more parallel to the life of someone serving in the military, that discipline? And what good would it do for us if we studied the soldier, we studied the sailors, and apply that to our lives every day, how would that change this country?
Well, I think, you can get wrapped down the line that it's about all the, the uniformed part of it all, the discipline, the standards, the repetitiveness, the chain of command and all that. I wouldn't focus on that, to your question. What I would focus on is whatever you decide to do in life, look at it as a call to that service. If you're a radio host, this is what you do, and approach that as, from a perspective of service and what you provide the greater community. And if you do that, and the passion and the energy and the enthusiasm and the stamina, all that requires, I think, will come naturally from that. So look at it as a call to service.
I love that. Call to service. We actually talk about that a lot here. It's so funny how your call to service and our call to service, different calls to different services in a way. But you can parallel them. You can enter into the same lane when it comes to helping others, pointing out things in life that are positive and put people on the right track. And we try to do that every day in one way or another. I want to open it up. We have an Admiral here in our room. This is an opportunity to ask whatever you want. Let's get crazy. Which, when I think crazy, I think Gandhi first.
Oh, wow. Okay. So how long out of the year do you usually spend on the water?
Well, for me, not a lot now.
Okay.
I'm kind of aged out that. But a typical sailor will spend about 50% of their time underway.
Okay.
Wow.
So we call it our operational tempo. And we have some rules that kind of govern that. So over a 3-year period, it'll be about 50% of import and at sea.
Okay.
So it's significant. So a person like me, over a career like this, I've spent about 13 years on sea duty. And so think of half of that. So call it 6.5 years underwater.
So 6.5 years underwater.
Yeah.
But
Oh, my God.
Everyone else in here, I'm sure you guys have been on ships on the water as well.
Yes.
What's the UFO situation like?
Oh, the
There
UFO.
we go.
Yeah. I'm ready. Let's go now. Don't hold back.
Yeah.
It's the
okay.
Navy that's always spotting them.
Yeah, well, yeah, we do. Our pilots tend to see them. I don't know what that says, but it's a tough question. I personally don't know, but I would tell you I don't believe it's from another planet. I think the probability of that is like 10 to the minus 9th or something.
Oh, okay.
So I don't think it's that.
You're ruining my dreams here.
Yeah,
Okay.
but so I typically think those are probably unmanned aerial vehicles of some type.
Wow.
That would be my belief.
Okay. And then this drone situation in New Jersey. I'm sure you heard all about it.
Yes.
What are we thinking that was?
Well, it's interesting. One of my hats that I wear is I'm the force protection lead for the Navy across the United States, working for Northern Command. So our commander that protects the North America, and so that falls under my job jar, if you will. This is a serious threat, and so we are right now. That's the whole point of the Golden Dome, is not only to try to get a handle on incoming ballistic missiles and protect our country, but even more common is just protect our bases and critical infrastructure from things like UAVs and drones. Wow. And nation-state sponsored things all the way to hobbyists, all of these things, we need a better way to see them and a better way to take them out without damaging, other things in the process or hurting people. So it's a tough problem, because you try to just knock it down, then it falls somewhere, and you can't have that happening. So it's a thing we focus on and work on quite a bit, actually.
Yeah, security. It's all about security. And look, I don't like being naked in my pool and seeing a drone looking at me.
No, that's right.
Because I want to make sure everyone else is secure from seeing that video. Because that would not be very, very good.
Well, in all
kids.
fairness, we spent yesterday with the New York Police Department and for about a couple hours, and they run a drone division, and they've got a pretty incredible capability there, with a 24/7 watch that's going on where they respond in the city with drones, and so that's the good use of it when it's being used like that. And so we just have to look out for the bad uses of them.
What up, Danielle?
I just want to know, do you have a magic solution to keep your whites looking white?
Well, again, there's a person in the room here. He's standing over there. He is a person that is solely responsible for keeping the Admiral's white.
Wow.
I think we talked to him last time, and he gave up. What was it? There something, a secret that you told us? I can't remember.
I can't tell you.
Oh, he can't
So
tell
it's not,
us.
not like
Military
No,
secrets.
it's a
a
military
Tide
secret.
stick?
I
It's
mean,
the Tide stick.
Is it the Tide stick? He's laughing. It's not the tight
Why
stick.
not?
No, with me, especially with it raining like this, it takes a tight bucket. You know?
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
look at that.
It's disgusting out there. Oh, I have another one. So
Go.
Tom Cruise is apparently coming out with Mission Impossible 3.
Yes.
No,
Top Gun 3.
Yeah, Top Gun 3.
If they come to you guys, one, do you consult? And two, are any of you allowed to be in it if they ask you?
Oh, 100%. I mean, we've got folks that have, actually met Tom on various movies like Mission Impossible. Tom Cruise does a great job coordinating with the Navy with his movies. And some people try to do movies and they don't coordinate well, and then the Navy can't really, get behind them. But Tom Cruise movies, we do. He does a great job of that. And he is a great advocate of the Navy. And and so anyway, I give him a shout out for that. And so yeah, we get to participate. He brings us in. He gets out underway on our ships to do all that filming, and is a real friend of the Navy.
Do you get a sneak peek at the movie before it comes out?
We absolutely do.
Ooh,
yeah, we do.
Cool.
That's so cool.
Yeah. Yep, we do.
I know Scary had a question. What's up, Scary?
Yeah, well, first of all, thank you all for your services. My dad served in Vietnam in the Navy, so I can relate a little bit. Well, he can relate, but he's listening right now. I just want to know, because going into this weekend, obviously a lot of people they're grilling, they're traveling, they're vacationing, whatever, going to the beach. But what is the one thing they can do to honor you and everyone else for Memorial Day? If there's one thing you could think of, what can we all do?
Well, I think just have in your heart some time to reflect. Regardless if you're at the beach or at a barbecue or whatever, take a moment on Monday to just think about what all the service members have done throughout our entire time. The Navy's 250 years old this year. This is we're older than the country. And so in October, we'll be 250, and the country will be, of course, next July. And that's been a lot of folks that have, perished under the flag of our country and the cloth of our nation. So I think it's worthy to take a few minutes and at some point and just, pause, bow your head perhaps, and just reflect and thank God that we have the country we have and the service members we have and what they did with the ultimate sacrifice.
Wow.
Wow.
Caudle, it's been such an honor to have you and your posse
I'm a posse.
here with us again this year, and your wife. I hope that even though it's a little rainy today and tomorrow, I hope you guys find some fun, great things to do here in New York City, because we do have a few things going on here. It's one of those little towns that is always busy.
Yes, sir.
Little town of New York City.
and I know you're going to be very, very busy this weekend, and rightfully so. But thank you so much for coming in to see us,
Thank
Admiral
you, Elvis.
Caudle.
Appreciate it. Thank you so
Fabulous
much.
having you here. Absolutely. Incredible. Thank you for listening. And please do as the Admiral has said, this coming Monday, stop for a second on your own, have a moment of silence, and think about what the day is all about. We appreciate you very much. Admiral Caudle, everyone. Incredible.
The Mercedes-Benz Interview Lounge.